So in between my work yesterday, as you can see, I'm doing my news headlines filming today. I had my visit from my perinatal mental health nurse. So I was actually on the core mental health team, like the community team. I have been for like 10 years, or sometimes the home-based treatment team, which is aka the crisis team. But it was about my mental health and well-being in pregnancy. And what I didn't realise, so I've experienced postpartum psychosis before, and whilst my current diagnosis is anxiety, depression and acute polymorphic psychotic disorder, but that's all managed with exercise and medication, which helps to balance me, to be honest, and then it lets me use my superpowers in a good way. But yeah, so they said that I'm now 50% more likely to have a recurring episode when I give birth, which I didn't realise it was that high, because normally it's like 1 to 2% of people, if you've had an episode of psychosis before, that it reoccurs. But apparently with pregnancy and all the hormones and sleepless nights and all that, you've got a 50% chance of it returning. So it was to make a high intensity safety plan. And it is a bit scary, it's a bit daunting. I think sometimes statistics are helpful. And back in the day, before I'd met Danny, if I'd heard statistics like that, I would have been like, oh my gosh, there's no point and all this. But now I've got that support, I just feel really lucky, because we've made a safety plan and a high intensity treatment plan. So it just means like I'd rather prevention than like just getting to it and then being like, well, I wouldn't be, what do I do? I'd be paranoid and running around and rolling around the house probably. But it would be on Danny then to not know what to do or what I would have wanted. So it's to make that plan when you're in a kind of stable place, just in case. But that's why I'd always recommend like safety plans, like keeping safe plans and what to do during birthing plans as well. Because having mental health problems has never impacted my role as a mother. That's always been like, that is, they said, what actually makes you happy? And I said, well, it's being a mother, it's being a wife, it's looking after the house, it's caring for everyone. And then also having my work in journalism, my blogging, that's what makes me happy, and being able to do all my fitness and personal training. But I'm so lucky I've got that support. And whilst I did get a bit upset because it reminded me of how bad things used to be, where I didn't really feel like I had anyone, and I was very alone and in dark places and trying to overcome trauma of my past and also going through trauma at the same time, and then having a baby fairly young and all of that, it was just a lot and it was really challenging. But then being a mama has been the best thing ever, and that's like my biggest role in life, to mother all his kids, mother Danny, my husband, and look after the house. And that's not because I'm not a feminist, it's because, as the new Barbie film will show you, being a feminist is not about having to play one role, which is just the working, doing everything, whatever. It's about having the choice to do whatever you want to do in life, whether that be a mama, be a kind of homekeeper, be a businesswoman, or do fitness. I do a bit of everything, to be honest. So I'm quite lucky, because that's how I float well, because of my ADHD brain. I'm better doing lots of things, but it's also good to know what's your like most important thing in all of that, so that you know what grounds you. And for me, it's working from home, being at home, looking after the kids, looking after the house and looking after my husband, which makes it sound really like old fashioned, but that's because that's my choice. I'm not forced into that. That's what I want to do. But that's where plans, I think, are helpful, because it's just about not saying that this will definitely happen, but it's about saying, well, what ifs, and just having those plans so you know that you don't need to panic at the time. Like, we've got to know with birthing plans, with all this pregnancy and what's happened throughout it, you know that you've always got to expect the unexpected. Even the stuff you worry about might like not happen, but then stuff you haven't even thought about might happen. So it's always like that. So it's just good to be aware and be open. And we've all got mental health. So just as I train people physical, like in personal training, even though that's a lot about mindset as well, it's so important to look after your mental health.